This is an MTX Sledgehammer prefab enclosure for two 15-inch subwoofers. And I have this in my Escalade ESV. I originally had 12s, but I wanted to go with 15s because I knew I had the room and I didn't want to make a fully custom box, but I wanted to get a prefab enclosure that I could cosmetically customize to make it a little more unique. So when I went online, I was looking at different 15-inch boxes. There isn't really a lot to choose from. There's a ton of selection for 12s, but when it comes to 15s, the selection is kind of limited. So upon looking, I found this MTX box, and while it isn't necessarily the cheapest, it doesn't really break the bank. You can get this for around $220. When I bought it, they were running a 20% promotion, so I got it for even cheaper than that. So when I saw this box online, one of the things that I noticed is that this front panel appeared to have just been bolted on. So I thought that if I purchased it, there's a good chance I'd be able to remove it so that I could wrap it or paint it or do something to make it a little more custom. And thankfully, I was correct. Because when I went online, I didn't see anyone else who had taken this off. But sure enough, it was only held on with 10 screws. So it was held on with some of these silver Torx screws. So I took them off and I was able to remove the front panel. I'll show you a clip of what that looks like. So this is the MTX audio box for my 215s. I just removed several screws from the front of this panel, and they were T30 screws. And when you remove them, this front plate just comes right off. You can see it's just pressed wood that they wrapped in black. And the great thing about this is now you can customize the front of the box. And what I actually want to do is wrap this in brown suede, get some gold screws instead of silver, put it back in. I think that'll look pretty nice. I just need to find some brown suede to match what I have here. And this suede material also stretches, which I highly recommend you get a material that stretches when you're trying to wrap panels. Here is that front face off of that MTX prefab subwoofer box. So it looks good as is, but I wanted to customize it. So the center section, actually cut it out, and then I routed the top and bottom so it matches the contour of the entire plate. And I'll be covering this with this brown suede. I'm going to cover this with that. And I also have removed the silver hardware, and I purchased gold hardware that I'm going to replace it with. And also on the center strip that I cut out, I have this material right here. This is actually ribbon, which is brown and gold, which goes down the middle, which I'll show you once I get it together. But I just wanted to make it more custom. So suede on that, this brown and gold down the center with the gold bolts. I think it's going to look really good. This suede material actually stretches. If you're ever going to do anything like this, I highly recommend you get a material that has a stretch to it. It's going to make the job 10 times easier. I'm going to be using 3M Super 77. I use this a lot and I haven't had any issues, so that's what I'm going to go with. And also, to cut out the centers and tuck the corners and everything, I'm going to use a fresh razor blade. You do not want a dull blade when you're doing this. It's going to make your job that much harder. All right, here's the finished front piece covered in the brown suede. Used adhesive and also staples. So this is ready to go on. Once I had it off, I was like, this is awesome. So now you can do anything you want. You can get it hydro dipped, you can paint it, or you can wrap it with suede or leather. You can do whatever you want to make it a little more custom. I decided to wrap mine with suede. I went with brown suede because the interior of this car is brown. And then the section in the middle, I actually covered it with a piece of ribbon. This is metallic gold and brown ribbon that fit perfectly here. So I cut the piece, glued it on, Then I wrapped this in brown suede, and the last thing was the gold screws. So I really wanted gold screws on here, but I wanted it to match these that originally came on it. You can see I got it pretty close. These actually have a little more of a profile on the outside. The last thing is when I was online searching these boxes, MTX has been making the Sledgehammer box for over 15 years now. There's some really old videos on YouTube that shows people with these boxes, but they used to come with this Sledgehammer plate on it, but they don't come with that anymore. I'll show you what the box looked like when I first bought it with the black front right here. So after seeing the old boxes with this plate, I decided that I would reach out to MTX. So I sent them an email and asked them if I could buy one. And they said they no longer come on the boxes, but if I gave them my address, they would send me one. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what I call excellent customer service. They just sent it to me. So once this came in, I had 2 more gold bolts left over. So I used that to fasten the logo to the top of the box. I think this is one of the better looking dual 15-inch enclosures on the market. Again, there's not a lot to pick from, but I think this is one of the better ones. It's nice and heavy, the carpeting is nice, has embroidery at the top. And again, the best part is the fact that you get to customize the front to look any way you want. You can do any color, anything. So I'm really happy with this, and I actually highly recommend this box if you're going with dual 15s. If you found that video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment. God bless you all.